I want to speak about self-consciousness. Just the way that, one way to talk about it, or the way I might speak about it right now. So I'm actually going to use those two words, self and consciousness, as two, pointing at two different things. As, of course, there are not separable things, yet I'm using words here, so we'll do our best. So as far as consciousness, I'm referring to everything that is in terms of beingness. You could say the changefulness, the impermanence, the arisings, consciousness. What everything is, in essence, but not specifically referring to self, the self. The self meaning absolute, you could say pure awareness, or even beyondness, the potentiality for everything. That's the self. The self is kind of the timeless, eternal, unchanging, in the way I'm speaking about it, whereas consciousness is more of the changefulness, even though ultimately that all starts to break down. So in this, the point of this is that in spirituality, we tend to start off feeling as local, individual, divided, separate bodies, right? Like this body and my thoughts and my wants and my desires and my attributes, and it's very localized to a specific, disconnected in a sense, thing, like a me or a you, or this person or that person, or the cat or the dog. And the movement is from that identity, that thought-based consciousness, where it's kind of reflecting. So when we think of self-consciousness, we think of this kind of reflecting upon. So the consciousness is able to look back on that it exists. That's kind of the primary thing. That it exists, it takes itself to be, oh, I am this body. It's kind of you could say a misread of the situation. And that reflection of existence being assumed, located around this body and mind, in spirituality, hopefully, starts to breaks down. There's less and less of an ability to find a me here, or there's no ability to find a me here, and that identity can tend to jump up, wake up, often to, I am an aware presence, I am this kind of formless beingness, it could be I am beyond, I am vast, I am spacious, but I become a no-thing that is watching. So identity can kind of move, and it doesn't mean once it moves that it never comes back. For I think almost everyone, it is kind of going in and out, but that's where the identity starts to move. Sometimes it can go straight to more, I am everything, or there is only one, but the identity still is moving, right? It's still a self-reflection. What am I? I exist, and what is it that I am that exists? So I could take myself to be a particular person, I could take myself to be a soul that is beyond the person, I could take myself to be the awareness the presence, the beingness. I could take myself to be, I am everything everywhere. There is nothing other than me. And even in this state of, or in this identity of oneness, there is still a reflection, a self-consciousness. The consciousness is looking back at the self, in a sense. It's somehow reflecting, self-reflective, right? And in a sense, it's still the consciousness where the identity is, even looking back and saying, I am even the source. So there's still an identity in consciousness. When you could say more in truth, consciousness is a modality of the self. It's a way the absolute, eternal, beyond the potentiality source self can be. It can be as consciousness. This kind of infinite isness, as opposed to maybe the absolute, which is the infinite potentiality for isness or not isness, or it's beyond even being confined to consciousness. Now, these aren't actually separate. It's just a way of speaking about it. So the point being, in self-consciousness, it's more reflective. There's a little bit more of a process going on that is reminding itself, that is looking, there's only oneness. It's, in a sense, you could say it's more of the recognition, the reconfirmation, the kind of gaining conviction, the gaining stability in that, and realizing over and over again, through repetition, through continued looking, wait, that's always the case. That's true. Until that reflectiveness can relax. And then it just becomes self. It's just self. Instead of being consciousness looking back at self, consciousness looking at consciousness, formless, beyond, kind of reflecting on that and doing this kind of loop, it's just seamless. There is no need for that anymore. There's no need for that. And I'm sure we've all had that experience where it's just flow. There's no wondering or question of what is anything, where am I. There's no sense of a you. It doesn't need a you. It's just seamless, you could say seamless being. It's just ising. And we can then reflect and say, oh, that's what I am. That's what we are. Or there is only this, there is only the one, there is only the infinite, there's only... that's more of the reflection. It takes a kind of cognition, a kind of looking. And it's not that one is better than the other. They're actually, the self-consciousness, especially at the level of oneness, is, in a sense, maybe needs to be seen until it doesn't need to be seen, until it just relaxes into a kind of full trust of that. Enjoy.